Joink. All right, beep beep. Welcome back, everybody, and welcome to part 2 of Movie Mondays with Matt Plus. We're talking about Scream 7 today, and we're taking an extended look at the Scream franchise. So we're going to talk about Scream 4, 5, and 6 in just a minute. Before we get to that, I'd like to show you a quick little slideshow of the impact of the Scream movies on my life. I was just a youngin' when part 1 came out. Let's see, 1996, so I was 11 when it came out. And I've always loved that movie a lot. It was a huge deal when it came out, and it shaped a lot, like moving forward for myself and for like my friends and just like hanging around in school. Like that was the hot, trendy, hip thing, Scream. So let me just show you a couple of fun little things that I cobbled together in a little slideshow here, starting with this one. Joink. All right, mics, all right, there we go. This is where we want to start. So this is my first ever ghost face costume. I believe this was back in 1997, if I'm correct. And this was an unofficially licensed ghost face costume. They did not have actual Scream costumes yet. I had to grab one of those original Fun World masks. There it is there. And then the robe I grabbed from some other random, you know, like death costume or something. And this was just kind of a trial run to see if it would mesh and work together. And this was my Halloween night. That's who I was for that Halloween night. It was amazing. I went and got gloves after that and props and things. And then the following year is when actual Scream merchandise came out. So I was a little ahead of the game, just like Scream was. So let's move to the next one. This is the following year. I'm Chucky, and then my buddy Hoser there let him borrow my Scream costume. So we upgraded a little bit. He's got a prop and some gloves and some things. And every year you'd see kids out there dressed as Ghostface, and it's a staple from that point on. The Ghostface costume is, not only is it iconic, it's a fun one to wear. It's easy to get. You can find them anywhere. They're cheap and they're lightweight. You can really run around. You can see pretty well in that mask as well. And there's not much to it. It's a mask, it's a robe. And then if you want, you can go and grab some gloves and a prop. And it's one of the easiest things to find or to put together. And everyone has easy access to them, which is the appeal of Scream. That's why it's like, oh boy, like who could be behind the mask? Like anyone can find this costume. So, you know, art imitates life. So let's move on to the next picture here. Here we go. All right, and this is 10 years ago now. I went to go see Scream on the big screen at the cinema with my buddy Sean there. He's dressed as Deputy Dewey, and that's me dressed as Ghostface. And we did this before it was cool once again. I'm going to tease ahead to the little event that we took part in 10 years later for Scream 7. So there we are. He's still got that costume. I've still got mine. You never know when you're going to need it. And then lastly, here's kind of a big moment here. Here's me with my Ghostface costume, meeting none other than Roger Jackson himself. This is the man that does the voice of Ghostface, that iconic voice that is in every one of those movies. I've met a few other cast members from Scream, but really Roger Jackson's the one. Like, he is Ghostface. So it was very important for me to meet him and get his autograph and get a picture with him as Ghostface. It was an amazing time, and he actually spit a couple of those lines at me, and oh, it sent chills down my spine. It was just amazing. This was just a few years ago at Crypticon. Joink. All right, so hope you enjoyed that slideshow. I'll have another one in the next part here. So let's continue the franchise recap, shall we? We talked about Scream 1, 2, 3. Now let's talk about 4, 5, 6. So part 4 was always uncertain. Like when they started Scream 2, they had planned it as a trilogy. They knew it was going to be a trilogy. And then they kind of just assumed that maybe that would just be it. So there were no immediate plans for part 4. Part 4 eventually did come out in 2011, which is a whole 11 years after part 3. And they were able to get back just about all of the big names that we wanted to see. We have Gale Weathers back, we have Deputy Dewey back, of course Sidney's back, and then they introduced some new fun characters as well. You know, part 4 is okay. The story picks up back in Woodsboro again, the hometown from part 1. And Sidney has written a book about being a survivor, surviving, you know, these many different attempts on her from Ghostface. And she's going on a little bit of a book tour. And the town has become a little bit of like a tourist trap. And there are Ghostface masks everywhere, over the lampposts, and, you know, people celebrate 24/7. This whole Ghostface allure. And so that's when the killings begin again. And there's a whole new set. It's like, oh, new decade, new rules was the tagline there. And let's just jump to the end with the big killer reveal. Turns out it's like Sidney's estranged cousin, I believe, played by Emma Roberts, who kind of like her brother in part 3 was like, oh, I never got attention, and, you know, you got all the attention for all these things you did, and, you know, I want to be the survivor, I want to be the new Sidney Prescott. And so she kind of orchestrated all these events, and it's her and another Ghostface who wanted to make his own stab movie. They reveal that there are now in the timeline 7 stab movies at this point, and there's something that, you know, they have a culture and a life of their own, and you know, the other guy is just a big fan of these stab movies, and you know, jumped at this chance to be the new Ghostface. And so that's kind of the big reveal at the end, and, you know, wouldn't you know it, Sidney takes out the Ghostfaces again. Everyone lives happily ever after. No big crazy character deaths or anything in this one. You know, and 4 was okay. I didn't mind it. Some people don't like it. I thought that it's not the worst one in the franchise. It has some good moments, and it plays with the idea of kind of the reboots and stuff like that, and it went the route of like how Saw has so many movies now in the franchise that it just started to get tired and so forth. So 4 was decent. Check that one out. You kind of have to if you're going to watch the whole franchise. And then before we get to Scream 5, I have to mention Scream the television series. Part 4 was the last Scream movie that Wes Craven directed. He directed all of them up to this point. And Kevin Williamson wrote 1, 2, and 4, and kind of had a little bit of a hand in 3 before everything like changed around. So Kevin Williamson was also a mainstay with it. The television series is its own beast. It's kind of in a different universe, and it's, you know, honestly, I did not like it. I'll just say it here and now. I did not like the Scream TV show. I didn't even finish the Scream TV show. I had a very difficult time getting through it. It was too new and slick and about the drama and about high school drama and just stuff I didn't want to see. There wasn't much Ghostface going on, and Ghostface has a new look entirely in this. He's got like a fleshier, human-looking mask, and, you know, that wasn't the problem for me. Just kind of the drama behind it. I just wasn't into it. It aired on MTV, and it fit in with that programming, And, it just wasn't my thing. Even though Wes Craven was involved, I believe he may have directed the pilot, and that's the last Scream-related thing that Wes Craven was a part of before his passing, unfortunately. So I'll just glaze past the TV series. I'll check it out at some point, but I'm in no rush. I hear mixed things about it. And then the third season was its own thing as well, and that's when it introduces this classic Ghostface mask and, some of the tropes that we're familiar with from the show. So at some point I'll check it out, but it needs to be noted. And then we move along. Unfortunately, Wes Craven passed in 2015, and it was like, well, what do we do now? And they were able to hire a pretty good new creative team to pick up the reins and move forward with with this franchise. And honestly, Scream 5 and 6 I really like a lot. They are different. They feel different. There's a line about how this one just feels different in Scream 5. And Scream 5 came out in 2022. It's just called Scream. Scream. And I take issue with that. I think it's lazy when franchises do that. When there's a specific number in the installment, it's a specific installment number, and it's just the same title as a previous installment. That is so lazy. I hate it. I hate it, and it's confusing. And I'm the kind of franchise guy I like my numbers. I like Scream 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we have Scream. Scream what? It should be Scream 5, really, or a subtitle or something different. I'm not a fan of the title, even though they cleverly referenced that in the movie, and that's why it's called Scream. It's not a reboot, but they wink at reboots and the whole idea of such things. It's more about legacy sequels. And anyway, title aside, it's a great movie. So let's get into the story of it. Again, we have Sidney Prescott is back, Gale Weathers is back, and Deputy Dewey is back. This movie is great except for one gigantic thing. And of course, it's the death of Deputy Dewey. They really did Dewey wrong in this particular movie. They made him a disgraced cop. He's forced off the force, and he just kind of sits in his trailer. He's broken up from Gale Weathers. They're not together anymore, and he's just kind of a loser. He just sits there in his trailer feeling sorry for himself, drinks a bit. That's not the Deputy Dewey that we all know and love. It would have been great if this was a redemption story, and it seemed like that's where it was going. And in some ways, maybe that's what it is. But, big spoiler, there's a big, crazy set piece. They're in a hospital. They're trying to get, they're trying to save this new character that I'll get to in a minute. And Dewey does a stupid thing, and he goes to get the killer by himself, and the killer comes to and kills him. And it's sad to see that happen because we didn't expect it and we didn't want it. And honestly, Dewey deserved a lot better than that. And even David Arquette was surprised and blindsided by this. He apparently, he thought that, this was just either a fake out or they'd film something at the end where he's fine. Kind of like he usually gets attacked and he's hurt and his fate is uncertain, and then at the end it's like, Dewey's fine. But no, they kill him for real this time. And it's sad. It's sad to see that happen. It's a tough moment to watch. But as the filmmaker stated with this moment, it's to tell you that there are stakes and this is real. It's to be taken seriously. It's not all giddy silliness like 3 and Sum of 4 was. This is for real. These characters, these killers mean business. So that's why that happened. I still don't like it, but I get it. So anyway, let's talk about the story of Scream 5. So this one was released in 2022, 11 years after Part 4. And it follows Here's kind of the spoiler alert. It follows the daughter of Billy Loomis, who is the original Ghostface killer. She grew up not knowing that Billy Loomis was her dad, but then she finds out and she kind of freaks out and leaves town, and she becomes estranged from her sister, who also did not know. And what happens is she finds out, she comes back to town to reconnect with her sister who had been attacked by Ghostface. And that's when it's revealed that, yes, there's a bloodline connection to the original Ghostface killer. And that she's played by Jenna Ortega, this new character as well. And let's see, so those two sisters kind of have to hash things out. More new characters are brought in. The relatives of Randy are brought in, his cousins, and they're just as savvy and smart and slick as him, and they know the rules, and they're smart enough to follow the rules, and they're able to survive this one as well. Even watching like a specific scene from Stab where it's their uncle on screen, it's great. There's a lot of good meta moments. Scream 5 is a good one. I really appreciated it. I just wish that Deputy Dewey didn't have to get killed. But, you know, it's good and it's definitely worth a check. So let's move on to part 6 now. 6 came out 1 year later. They really banged that one out fast, and they had planned to do more of them right away like that. But Scream 6 comes out now, and so now the numbers are getting off. Like Scream 1, 2, 3, 4, Scream, and now Scream 6 isn't the normal 6, it's a Roman numeral 6, and it's like made out of the text of the M. I don't like the logo at all. I don't like how it looks. I think it's weird. I think the franchise is smarter than that. Anyway, I'm complaining about the logo and the title again. The movie itself I really liked. So there were some problems behind the scenes with it. Apparently they weren't going to use Sydney that much. They were not going to have much screen time with her, and that's unfortunate. And then there was a pay dispute, and due to that, Neve Campbell dropped out entirely of Scream 6, and so she's not in the movie. They reference her, but she's just not in the movie, and something feels a little bit missing, but you're still able to enjoy the movie, even though she's not the focus this time, because we have these new characters who are carrying the heavy weight. So anyway, 6 picks up a year later, and it's the surviving characters, the two girls. The one is related to Melissa Barrera and Jenna Ortega. The one girl is related to Billy Loomis. They moved to New York, and Randy's cousins are there as well, and are not cousins, nieces. And she's going to school there, and a new batch of killings begin. And this opening sequence in part 6, I really liked a lot. It's one of my all-time favorites in the franchise. And what happens is there's a standard Ghostface killing, and it's like, whatever, you know, this one wasn't too impressive. And then after the killing happens, the killer immediately takes the mask off and reveals who they are. And we see who they are, but nobody else does. And it's like, what? The killer's already revealed. It's like less than 10 minutes into the movie. And then the character tucks their Ghostface costume into their backpack and goes home. And you're watching everything that's happening. And it's like, oh my God, like we're witnessing the movie from the perspective of this new Ghostface. And then that Ghostface gets a call from a different Ghostface who will turn out to be the real Ghostface, and then eventually gets killed by the real Ghostface. So anyway, it was tricky. It subverted expectations. It was fun. It was a whole different take on it. It was really enjoyable. So that alone, like major points for part 6. So let's move into the actual story again. it's just them trying to avoid Ghostface, and Gale Weathers comes in, and she has a slightly bigger role this time. It's a whole legacy thing. This is what I really liked, is it looks back at all of the previous movies, and this particular new killer is obsessed with all of the previous killers and has this gigantic shrine in this movie theater. And there's like these glass cases, and there's every single Ghostface robe and mask that was used in the previous sprees, and all the evidence that you'd find in an evidence lockup is there. And it's just this huge shrine. And so that's the fun thing. And so every new killing that takes place, this new Ghostface leaves one of the original masks behind at the crime scene. And he's going backwards. Starts with 5, 4, goes on down the line, and he's counting down to part 1 because that's where everything's going to take place. So it's really fun. And another thing that happens, the particular Ghostface is really brutal this time. And the big reveal at the end is that there are 3 killers for the first time ever. And I didn't mention who the killers were in the other one. Doesn't matter. But the killer this time, it's 3 of them, and they're a family. And it's like the dad and his 2 kids, and they wanted to pull this whole thing off because the dad's a cop, so he has access to all the stuff. And the one is the roommate of the new target. It's great. It's a fun little story. So there's your Scream 6 with those characters. And then they had plans for what would have happened with those characters moving forward in 7, but things didn't shape up that way. So there's your Scream 6 recap. Going to take a little break here for just a minute, and when we come back, I'm going to talk about Scream 7 if I don't lose my voice here, and I've got another fun little slideshow to show you, and that will be this episode for today. So stick around, my friends, and we'll see you in just a minute, and don't worry, I'll be right back!